Where does somebody find 150 million? Where?
Agree with him. They were being given 30,000 to impeach Gachagua. Where was that money from? So where did the corruption start from? The executive.
But the person who is complaining that the parliament is corrupt, he is the head of corruption.
Welcome back to Dokiza TV podcast. I hope you are well. I, too, is. Today we take bull by the horns, so to speak. This week is dominated by talks of corruption, especially in the executive and also in parliament. By the way, does either of the two arms have a moral authority to accuse the other? What do you think? Please be the first to give a comment on it in our comment section. Meanwhile, in this podcast, I want us to discuss this. 10 reasons why Kenyans are skeptical of Ruto's anti-corruption rhetoric. President William Ruto's recent accusation that members of parliament are a bunch of corrupt individuals has, predictably, been met with a wave of public cynicism. And frankly, Kenyans are not just being cynical, they are being rationally skeptical. We have researched on 10 incisive reasons why his words ring hollow for a majority of the populace. Number 1, the stench of historical irony. Let's start with the most obvious. Before ascending to the presidency, William Ruto built his political career while shadowed by serious corruption allegations, most notably the multi-billion shilling scandal at the Ministry of Agriculture in the early 2000s. For a man who has spent decades in the muddy waters of Kenyan politics, often accused of being a key player in its patronage system, to now pose as a white knight crusader against corruption isn't just ironic, it's audacious. It's like a veteran arsonist being put in charge of the fire department and then blaming everyone else for the smell of smoke. Number 2, the uprooting the oak principle. There's a famous saying, it is difficult to uproot an oak that you did not plant. Ruto's administration is not an external force, it is the very embodiment of the political system it now claims to fight. Many of the MPs he accuses are his own allies, elected on his party ticket, and part of the political machine that propelled him to power. To expect him to seriously dismantle a system he meticulously helped build and benefit from is a profound ask. The oak is not just planted, he's been watering it for years. Number 3, the strategic sacrifice of small fish. A classic tactic in political theater is to loudly prosecute minor offenders to create the illusion of action while the big sharks continue to feast. Kenyans have seen this movie before. When Ruto targets a few MPs or mid-level officials, it's perceived not as a genuine purge, but as a strategic sacrifice to appease the public and international donors, all while protecting the larger, more powerful networks of corruption that are essential to maintaining his political base. Our reason number 4, the presidential immunity and family affairs. The most damaging allegations aren't just against faceless MPs, they point directly to the president's inner circle and family. From the controversial award of government tenders to entities linked to his daughter to the opaque dealings in public-private partnerships, these claims create a powerful narrative of a "do as I say, not as I do" presidency. When the messenger is himself implicated, the message loses all moral authority. You cannot lead a war on corruption from a defensive bunker of your own scandals. Number 5, the suspicious dismissal of high-profile cases. One of the very first actions of the Ruto administration was to terminate a slew of major corruption cases against his key political allies, many of whom are now senior figures in his government. The reason given was often lack of evidence, the justification met with widespread public disbelief. This act sent an unequivocal signal, justice for my friends, but not for my foes. It fundamentally corrupted the anti-corruption infrastructure before it even began. Number 6. The weaponization of anti-corruption rhetoric. In Kenyan politics, accusations of corruption are rarely just about good governance, they are a potent political weapon. By accusing MPs of corruption, Ruto isn't just fighting graft, he is strategically positioning himself against the legislature, centralizing power, and painting himself as the people's champion against a greedy political class. The public, wise to these games, sees the political maneuvering, not a principled stand. Number 7, the deafening silence on friendly cartels. The president speaks of cartels strangling the economy, yet these entities seem to have names and faces that are never revealed. Kenyans notice that the cartels targeted are often those opposed to his administration, while those aligned with it operate with impunity. This selective outrage confirms the belief that the fight is not against corruption itself, but against competitors for the spoils of corruption. Number 8, the erosion of independent institutions. A genuine fight against corruption requires strengthening independent institutions like the judiciary, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC. However, there is a persistent public perception of executive overreach and the politicization of these bodies. When their actions consistently align with the political interests of the executive, their credibility, and by extension, the credibility of the president's fight, evaporates. Number 9, the psychology of repeated betrayal. Kenyans are not naive. They have had the same anti-corruption promises from every single administration since independence. Each one has come vowed to end the plague, and then either participated in it or presided over its growth. This has created a deep-seated collective trauma and a national psychology of distrust. Ruto's words are filtered through this history of betrayal. The burden of proof isn't on the people to believe, it's on him to prove he's different. So far, the evidence is lacking. And lastly, number 10, the glaring socio-economic contradiction. Finally, the most visceral reason for disbelief is the stark contrast between the president's words and the people's reality. As he speaks about curbing waste, citizens are crushed by new taxes and a soaring cost of living. They see a government demanding sacrifice from them while its officials are perceived to be living in obscene luxury. This disconnect isn't just political, it's personal. When you're struggling to buy bread, a politician's speech about accountability from a comfortable office isn't just unconvincing, it's insulting. In conclusion, Kenyans aren't ignoring the corruption problem. They see it clearer than anyone. What they are ignoring is President Ruto's specific rhetoric on it because it appears disingenuous, self-serving, and divorced from the actions of his own administration. The skepticism isn't a sign of apathy, it's a sign of a populace that has learned, through painful experience, to judge leaders by their deeds, not their words. What do you think? Is the skepticism justified, or should the public give the administration more time? Let's discuss in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more incisive analysis.
By virtue of the position I hold today, I am a consumer of raw intelligence. I know what's going on. Where does somebody find 150 million? Where?
Agree with him. They were being given 30,000 to impeach Gachagua. Where was that money from? So where did the corruption start from? The executive.
But the person who is complaining that the parliament is corrupt, he is the head of corruption. He is the one who bought opposition. He lured the opposition to his side so that he can have majority. He controls everything. He controls parliament. How can he even stand and say that the parliament is corrupt?